وله.
I want to thank Madam Rajavi.
Dear Iranian friends,
اجلاس سالانه گروههای پارلمانی دوستان ایران آزاد با شرکت نمایندگان پارلمان اروپا و پارلمانترهای 20 کشور انگلستان، آلمان، فرانسه، ایتالیا، سوئیس، فنلاند، نروژ، ایسلند، هلند، بلژیک، اسپانیا، پرتغال، ایرلند، رومانی، مالت، لیتوانی، اسلوونی، لهستان، سن مارینو و استرالیا.
گرامیداشت سالگرد سرنگونی دیکتاتوری شاه در ایران. حمایت از مبارزه مردم و مقاومت ایران برای سرنگونی دیکتاتوری مذهبی و از شورای ملی مقاومت ایران به عنوان جایگزین واقعی رژیم و استقرار یک جمهوری دموکراتیک و کثرت‌گرا مبتنی بر جدایی دین و دولت.
سخنرانی‌های دکتر آلخو ویدال کوادراس، ماریان بایندر و الیزابتا زامپاروتی. قسمت ششم.
ماریان بایندر کلر: ما نمایندگان مجلس در سراسر جهان سفیران حقوق بشر هستیم که باید آنچه در ایران اتفاق می‌افتد را بازگو کنیم.
yes, Mrs. Ashrawi and dear colleagues all over the world in different parliaments, it's very impressive about this big work you do for human rights in Iran. Thank you very much. Just a little thing. I'm very, very concerned about this backward development in Iran. I had a girlfriend in Iran in the 70s. We were writing letters, and then came this revolution, and my girlfriend just disappeared in Iran. I think as member of parliament, I think we are sort of ambassadors for those human rights, repeating always what happens there and trying to remember and trying to tell. I think this is our duty, and I thank very much everyone who joins this, and I thank Mrs. Rashabi for her big work and her big engagement. It's great. Thank you very much.
دکتر آلخو ویدال کوادراس: اتحادیه اروپا، شورا و کمیسیون اروپا باید سیاست مماشات را با یک سیاست محکم و قوی که به تغییر رژیم در ایران بیانجامد جایگزین کنند.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be with all these friends from different parliamentary committees from such a variety of countries. And of course, a great pleasure to share once again an important event with our president, Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. I speak today on behalf of the In Search of Justice International Committee, which is a think tank based in Brussels that was in fact created informally in the legislative period of the European Parliament 2004-2009, when almost 4,000 parliamentarians from all the world, active parliamentarians from all the world, signed a statement supporting the NCRI and the PMOI and Mrs. Rajavi for the issue of the delisting of these organizations from the blacklist in the United States, in France, in UK, and in the European Union. In that moment, we called this informal platform In Search of Justice. And in 2014, we decided to transform it in a formal entity based in Brussels. And we started to work as a formal think tank to support the fight for freedom and democracy in Iran. And I have the pleasure to work on this project since this first informal platform with these thousands of signatures that I had the pleasure to present myself to Mrs. Rajavi in one of the annual summits of the resistance. As you know, the stance of the governments in relation to the Iranian regime is very different from the stance of parliaments. The proof is that in many parliaments we have parliamentary committees for free Iran. I worked always when I was in the European Parliament for 15 years as vice president. Together with Struan and Paulo, we worked in the Committee for Free Iran, Friends of Free Iran, in the European Parliament. So I know very well how these committees work. And as I said, the attitude, the position, the stance of the parliaments is completely different of the position of the governments. In parliaments, we have many members that support a free Iran and reject absolutely this religious, theocratic tyranny, dictatorship. But governments, unfortunately, act very differently. They want appeasement, they want dialogue, they want negotiation, and they waste their time because they have been doing this with the Iranian regime for decades, and the result has been what we know: proxy wars, violations of human rights inside Iran, executions, terrorism. So it is clear that the way of appeasement and negotiation does not work. So my message today to all of you, dear friends, in these parliamentary committees is the following. From parliaments, our objective is to put pressure on governments to change policy of the Western governments and of the European Union in relation to the Iranian regime. This is our goal, this is our mission, this is our objective, and we must focus on it. We must use every way, every method, every opportunity to make our governments, and of course the European External Action Service as well, and the European Council, that the policy of appeasement is useless, is a failure, is counterproductive, is feeding our worst enemy. So it's a stupid policy. And it must be changed. This is my message today. Let's work all together, restless, strongly, willingly to make Western governments and also the European Union, the External Action Service, and the Council, and the Commission, of course, to change their policy in relation to Iran and replace this useless policy of appeasement and dialogue for a firm, strong policy that will help to regime change in Iran. I think that if we stand with this policy, we are today close to victory, and we must keep faith that this victory will come sooner than later. Let's work all together, well coordinated, and I'm sure we'll arrive to our final objective, which is freedom and democracy for the Iranian people. Thank you.
الیزابتا زامپاروتی، رئیسی مسئول قتل عام 30,000 زندانی سیاسی در سال 67 و شاخص برجسته‌ای از بلوغ یک رژیم مذهبی در بدترین شکل آن است.
Thank you very much. I would like also to say that I take the floor also as a representative of Hands of Cain, which is an NGO involved in a campaign for the abolition of the death penalty, and we continue to record the number of executions carried out in Iran. The fact that now the Iranian president is Raisi, I mean the most active member of the death commission, which executed more than 30,000 political prisoners in 1988, for me is the plastic expression of the completion of the theocratic system in its worst expression. And it is, I may say, natural that now this theocratic regime collapses. And we should be aware of this, and we should also act coherently. In January, only in January, we recorded at least 46 executions in Iran. 17 have been executions related to drug crimes, and 15 of those executed were members of the Baluch minorities. So, just to confirm the level of the repression by this regime as described by Mayram Rajavi. And the number of executions of January is significantly higher than the number of the same period in previous year. And we should not to cooperate with this regime, and we should also continue to help our citizens to know the inhuman nature of this regime. And because every change is always the result of a process of knowledge and of a process of awareness, and our citizens, our public opinions should know the inhuman nature of the Iranian regime. And for this reason, we should also continue to press our governments to put the human rights questions as the main point to address in any negotiation with the Iranian regime, as well as to press our governments to recognize the 1988 massacre as a crime against the humanity and to call also Iranian officials by their own name responsible for that crime, starting from the current president of Iran. And to conclude, I would like also to say that I firmly believe that the Iranian resistance should be recognized as a political and the only one political alternative for a new and free Iran.
Thank you very much.